Hey, hi, hello, GameboyGrayson here, and I know reviews of this game came out a few weeks ago, but I recently played the Switch remake of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Yeah, I kinda missed the boat on an early review, but what's a few extra weeks of waiting? After all, it's not like I played the original on Game Boy, or its re-release on Game Boy Color, or its 3DS port, but fourth time's the charm. And what did this total newbie think of it? Well, I think I get why it's considered such a special entry in the series. Link's Awakening is a game all Zelda fans should check out, whether it's your first playthrough or your 20th. It's dangerous to go alone. Take the spoiler warning. Developed by Grezzo, this remake stays true to the original while also taking advantage of, the fact that it's 2019 and not 1993. 8-bit sprites are out, super cute toy-like visuals are in, and everything has this glossy, plasticky finish that makes you feel like you're playing in a diorama. Not everything is different though. There's still a top-down camera angle, and the map layout is basically untouched, even down to specific patches of grass. This still looks like a classic Zelda game, just with a new coat of paint. What doesn't seem up to speed in 2019, however, is the remake's technical performance. It rarely runs at a consistent 60 frames per second, regardless if the Switch is docked or in handheld mode. Frame rate drops are most noticeable in the exact spots where the original game would transition screens. It's kind of annoying, but it's not as big of a deal to me as it is to some people. It takes a really low frame rate to break my immersion. Gameplay is also nearly identical to the original except for one major difference. The Switch has way more buttons than the Game Boy. So instead of constantly pausing and juggling all your items between two buttons, many items are permanently mapped to the controller. This includes the sword, shield, and later on when you get them, the power bracelet and Pegasus boots, among others. I hadn't really considered how big of a limitation the old Game Boy hardware was. For example, you'll often need multiple items to clear one single room in a dungeon, but if there are enemies in there too, well then, you're leaving yourself open to attack if you can't pause and swap fast enough. This is one of the clearest improvements that the remake holds over the original. The design of a modern controller with more buttons streamlines item management and repackages combat in a way that feels way more fluid. A couple other small tweaks make fast travel and pinning items way easier. This is much appreciated as you comb through Koholint Island. Because like any Zelda game, there's so much to explore in the overworld, especially as you earn new items and abilities. There are some drawbacks to playing Link's Awakening for the first time in 2019. Namely, it's maybe harder than a lot of games out there today. This one doesn't really hold your hand. I found myself genuinely stumped by some of the dungeon's puzzles, and sometimes struggled finding the right character needed to advance the plot. Even the in-game hints can be a bit cryptic at times. I know the fix to this, obviously, get good. But I think there's a certain language or formula to old-school Zelda games that isn't totally obvious to newcomers. I think you kind of have to play a couple before you get it. But that right there is the whole point of the series, right? To explore and discover. I still felt that sense of adventure driving me throughout the entire experience, even though I admit that I had to look at a guide a few times. The only real swing and miss the remake takes is with the new Chamber Dungeons mode. Basically, you can create dungeons using rooms from dungeons you've already cleared, but you can't edit those rooms, and you can't even share your creations online. You need to use an amiibo to transfer them. It all feels totally half-baked. This mode could have been a strong first step toward a Super Zelda maker, but it just isn't. So the gameplay is good and the art style is good, but the story of Link's Awakening is what I'll be thinking about for a long time. It's familiar to other Zelda games, but feels much stranger. Here's a quick summary. Link shipwrecks onto the shores of Koholint Island. He's found by Marin and later awakens in her home. Her father Tarosan gives him his shield, and Link goes back to the beach to get his sword. There, Anao tells him that in order to return home, he must collect a bunch of instruments. Why? So he can awaken the windfish, of course. And it's sleeping inside a giant egg atop a mountain. Yeah, that all makes sense. It's honestly a pretty jarring story. There's no sign of Hyrule, Princess Zelda, the Triforce, Ganon, nothing. Instead, you've got enough Nintendo cameos to rival the MCU. Seriously, am I playing Super Smash Bros. Or something? And, wait, is that an evil Kirby? The original developers have cited David Lynch and Twin Peaks as inspirations, so it's fitting that the story is so odd. I spent most of the time questioning if any of it was real, and well, good hunch, because none of it was. The game's big twist is that it is, in fact, a dream. That awakening the windfish doesn't just return you home, it wipes away the whole island. As you continue clearing dungeons, each nightmare boss pleads with you to stop, but you don't listen. Playing as Link no longer feels heroic, it feels selfish, even villainous. Koholint Island is peaceful and happy. Its inhabitants don't even know they don't actually exist. You are, quite literally, ruining their lives. It's honestly heartbreaking because you have all these really fun interactions with them. The dialogue is charming and their personalities are so strong, they really feel like they have lives beyond this specific adventure. But they don't. There is one character who seems to know the end is coming, and that's Marin. She tells Link she wishes she could be a seagull so she could fly away from Koholint Island and sing for people. But right before Link goes up to the giant egg, she asks him to never forget her, because she knows in her heart that he'll be leaving soon. This is all so sad. The twist that it's all a dream is pretty cliche, but still hits hard because of characters like Marin. For a game with such cheerful visuals and upbeat music, the story of Link's Awakening is surprisingly dark. I gotta say, it's remarkable that one of the year's best titles is a Game Boy game. With this one, you get the classic Zelda experience, but with a ton of quality of life improvements. Now, would I recommend this to someone as their first ever Zelda? No. I'd still go with Breath of the Wild. But for semi-new fans who want to dive deep into the series' long history, yeah, I think this is a great pickup. And if you really like the game and want more, well, then that just opens up a whole back catalog to check out as well. Overall, I give the Switch remake of Link's Awakening 8 out of 10 Yoshi dolls. Thanks so much for watching. We've got some really exciting videos coming up soon that we can't wait to post. Till next time, peace.